Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism back with another live video for you this evening. Sorry for the delay. Wasn't playing very nice with me. Glad you're joining me. Thanks and hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to those in the Discord chat. I'll be there shortly. And I do apologize. Last show I did say that I would post the Eddie Bravo discussion after the show. And then I remember ending the show and thinking to myself, wasn't I supposed to do something? And thought maybe not. But then as I started this live event, I think the first chat message that came through was Eddie Bravo show. I said, oh yeah, I did say I was going to do that, didn't I? So it's already been rendered. It's ready to go. So that will be happening right after the show. I'll put that up. That'll be on the Jeranism Live channel. And if you aren't subscribed over there, I don't really know what's wrong with you. Something is definitely wrong. So go over there, subscribe, Jeranism Raw, and you will be in good company. So tonight's show is titled How Dishonest Are Globe Believers? And because basically they're also worried about who is intellectually honest. They're worried about facts. They're worried about peer review, evidence. But then there are some of them, these, I guess you can call them characters. When it comes to just blatant lies and disinfo, they're right at the head of the game. So tonight will be a lesson on first reviewing what is said in videos and following up on that info. For example, many people might remember about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point, I put out a video saying, well, I usually say that history is a well-crafted lie. And I put out a video saying that Stonehenge wasn't worth paying attention to because it had basically been rebuilt in the early 1900s. And people all went crazy and called me a liar and said it's been there since, 5,000 years, you name it. So I just wanted to show people that when you do get somebody saying something like that, to go and do the research on it. So I'm bringing up here let's see here. Oh, I guess I don't have that ready yet. I'm going to bring up my browser so you can see what I'm doing. 1 second. And I guess I never made that one. Sorry. So we'll bring up that one. And then we'll get into basically how we go about looking at some of these other people's claims. And there's quite a few of them. And they think that they're proof of the curvature of the earth. And I want to show you that when we just do a little bit of research, just a little bit, a little follow-up, rather than just to take everybody at what they say as being gospel, then we can usually find out that they're wrong. And if they would have done that much research, then they should know that. So that's when it becomes, how dishonest are they? Are they just really lying to themselves, or are they lying to you on purpose? That's where it gets a little bit difficult to decide. 1 second here. And we got to go here. So I didn't add my own browser window. 1 second. go. Okay, I got it now. And we'll make that way. Okay, here we go. So let me bring this up, if I can get this in there. So hope everybody is well. Hope you had a pleasant day. I did. I've been a little bit under the weather, but feeling better. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Your well wishes do mean a lot. Also want to remind you during this time that I would love if anybody has any extra money that they would love to donate. I would love that. That would be great. Sometimes, it's hard to make ends meet doing what I do, which is selling books online and trying to preach the truth. If you don't want to donate, by all means, do not donate. If you do have extra money, I know it's Christmas, I know it's a tough time, you can go to paypal.me/Jeran, Jeran. That would be awesome. Of course, I would love to do this full time, but I also know that not everybody in the world gets to do what they love full time. In fact, probably less than half of 1% get to do that. So if I was ever that lucky, I would consider myself extremely blessed. But if not, then so be it. So that's up to you, not me. I do thank all the patrons for doing what they do, which is supplying us with a good amount of money so that we can spend a majority of my time I spend on flat Earth research right now. So let's see here. Let me get this up for you. And here we go. And also we have the, something you can do for free, which is just by shopping at Amazon. Go to my link first, which is j.mp/JeranAMZ, JeranAMZ. You just go there before you shop at Amazon. And I know a lot of people have said to me, but Jeran, you're promoting Amazon, which is this terrible company. Well, pay attention to this point. If you go to Amazon and you shop there and you buy something there, well, then you're giving them all your money, right? So why not force them to give me 2% of it, which is what happens if you go through my link first. I guarantee you I'll do better things with that money than Amazon will. So just saying that. But if you don't shop at Amazon, I'm certainly not saying go shop at Amazon because of my link. No, I'm just saying if you happen to be shopping at Amazon, you can go to my link first, which is j.mp/JeranAMZ. That would be awesome. All right, let's get this up here and we will move on. So just wanted to show you real quick when I was talking about if we go and look at things like Stonehenge, you will come to this site. If you just look hard enough, you will see that Stonehenge, which they can call it, that it was rebuilt. Sorry, you're not really squared up, are you much? Yeah, you're good enough. They can say it was built whenever they want. That's fine. I don't mind. Say whatever you feel, that if you think it was built 5,000 years ago, that's fine. But when I was raised, and I'm sure you guys went to school and learned the same thing that I did, nobody mentioned the thing being rebuilt, it being propped up, it being lifted by cranes. They always told me that we don't know how these big blocks got on top of there. How could people have lifted? It's a mystery. Well, it's not a mystery when I see I see photos of you lifting it with cranes. Okay, I'll tell you how those stones got up there. You put them up there with cranes. So if somebody wants to tell me that they weren't like that before, that's great, but I have no evidence of that. I have no proof of that. In fact, why is there still blocks that are knocked down today? It's not perfect. So if you were going to rebuild it, wouldn't you rebuild it perfectly? Wouldn't every block be up instead of this monstrosity of a repair project? So just an example of people who will just immediately cry, liar, foul, but they have never done the research. There is enough photographic evidence here to call into question. How about the cement truck here pouring cement down there? So when they try and tell you, well, we don't know how these blocks sat on top of there. They're so heavy. We don't know how people lifted them up there. Well, if there was some sort of proof that it had been there for thousands of years, I might agree with you. When I see this and then I look into the history of it and you look at when it was purchased and how it was sold to the British government and look into all that, you start to question exactly what we're being told. Then you look at this little priest ceremony here with all the priests and the druids, and it's just funny to me that we're supposed to believe this. There's a good picture in here. I was trying to find it. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Buy her something nice? All right, I will. She gets treated pretty nice. So that is Flat Earth, or Conspiracy Music Guru, who sings that song. Just love his stuff. He's going to have an album soon. He's already got 5 of his 10 songs, so can't wait to hear the next 5. Check him out. Subscribe to his channel. But anyway, there was a picture here that I was trying to show I mean, when you got blocks like this and they're putting these in there and they're cementing them down, well, I'm just saying that it's not worth me banking on anymore or saying, wow, this is so mysterious to me. It's really, you ruin the mystery. Now you got guys down here digging holes. And now, so if somebody really did build this 5,000 years ago, then it is very impressive. But then you see things like this. This is a hollowed out block into here, or this is concrete or something. This is not the original stone. So it's just crazy. So anyway, I can put this link into the description so you can look for that. It's funny because when you go looking, you will see sites that say, was this built in 1898 or 1954? It says a set of photos circulating online show proof that Stonehenge was built in modern times. The claims are false. And then it says why they're false and shows that the image above does not show construction of a new monument, but of that of an excavation, which occurred back in 1919 through 1920 by William Hawley. Additional restoration was headed by Sir Frank Baines, with Hawley retained in an advisory capacity. And they just based that off of one newspaper article of somebody saying that it was being rebuilt. Again, if you were going to fool people, how hard would it be to say, well, we're going to do this, so hey, go write a newspaper article that this happened on this day. Thank you. Now it's cemented as fact. It's history. And is it history? Well, it's up to you. You can decide what you want on that one. There's also more sites you can find about restoration, these modern restorations in 1880 and 1900 and 1906. But when you really start looking into them and you read a little bit further, you find out how much are they really restoring when they say that they had to add all this concrete. He righted 6 stones, enabling the removal of the unsightly larch poles, which had been previously supporting them. 1958, the work of lifting the West Trilithon began. 2 cranes were utilized, including a huge Bristol Barbizon aircraft crane. The fallen West Stone, here we go, it says it was removed, replaced, and straightened. And so now they're replacing stones. So, I mean, to me, there's just no reason to spend any time on banking on that as being a historical fact anymore. Sorry, but you ruined it. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Why is there still bricks or why is there still rocks that have fallen today? If you repaired it, then shouldn't everything be upright and cemented? Or did you leave it so that it kind of looked ancient? Like the couple blocks are down because it's been here for 5,000 years, and we also lifted the rest of them up with cranes. Sorry, not in my book. So that's basically where we go with that one. So I wanted to bring up some people that are doing some things that I think we need to call into question. And let me switch you over to my YouTube page here. I'm sure everybody knows who I'm talking about here. And this person soundly has made a career of talking about the Lake Pontchartrain. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but you know what I'm talking about. We can call it Lake P-Train Bridge or the P-Train Causeway. But basically, he has gone on and on about this is showing the curvature of the earth. I think that it is not, and I will show you why. When we just do a little bit of research, we can see what exactly is going on here. So let me make sure this volume's down. All right. So basically, this is I think this is an older video of his, August or something, and he's showing the different ways he's talking about curved water. He shows it here, saying that this is curved water, I guess. Says witness Earth's curve, flat Earth debunked, curved water. So I don't know how this is showing curved water when clearly what we're getting is a distorted view here, and then you're just getting, you can't see through distortion. I mean, to expect to see through that would be, I don't know, kind of mind-numbing. So he's also shown this actual causeway here as being curved. That's what, he says, the causeway is curved. But let me show you a couple images, and let me make sure that they are right here for you. And do I have them loaded? No. 1 second. Add file. So I've got a couple images of this causeway that I wanted to show, and then we'll talk about his electric poles that he talks about. Then they just did an experiment this week at some bayou, and I want to bring that up and show that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about Wolfie 6020, some things that he said in a recent video, or actually I don't know how recent it was. Might not have been that recent. But it's just a lot of people saying things, because it supports their side, and they may think I do the same thing. But in my book, it's completely different. It's just not even close to being the same, because I'm trying to prove that what the mainstream belief is has been fabricated. It's a fabricated lie. And what they're doing is protecting the mainstream belief with lies. That doesn't seem very, kosher to me. I don't know. It just seems like they are basically doing. I hate to say that anybody works for anybody or anything like that. I tend to think that nobody does, and these guys are just people who honestly are making mistakes. But that's why I titled this "How Honest Are These Globe Believers?" I don't know, because if they just did a hair bit of research or understanding, and with like the Wolfie video, I've already explained to him, at least in my opinion, what is going on, and I'll show that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. 1 second, let me get these up here. Okay. And we're going to bring this up here. Where is it? There we go. Okay, now you should be looking at my little thing here, and my little player. Okay. So, I'm going to be looking at some pictures of Lake Pontchartrain. Hopefully you see them. Yeah, I think you do. Oh, let's see. Here's my volume too quiet. 1 second here. Somebody's... Read the title of this video. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Explain to me what you mean. Read the title of this video. What is the title of the video? I don't know what you mean, Dave. You'll have to take the title of what video? I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, so we're on to this Lake Pontchartrain. I guess that's how you say it. Hopefully you're looking at what I am. I don't know if you are or not. I think you are. So you'll see that there's even these humps in this causeway itself, which should call into question anybody taking a sideways view of it and questioning. You'll see here, going up and over. So when I ask how honest are they being, here's a downhill look as they're going. Now, these are things that can be easily seen, and I just want to show you what is happening here. If you look carefully at this, I don't know if you would see the same thing as I do, but this red line almost appears to be curved. It's just kind of a optical effect that happens a lot. And let's see here. So I wanted to show you basically some examples of that. And let's go to this one. Oops. David, am I missing something here? You want to tell me what you mean, or I'm confused? Is what I'm showing not showing or something? Don't know what the issue is. Somebody tell me. Excuse me. So when I'm talking, and I guess maybe people are confused about what the topic has to do with what I'm showing how dishonest are Globe believers. Because what happens is they get into this whole framework, and we can listen to Soundly himself. Overlay YouTube. Yep. We can listen to Soundly himself talk about all these things, and we'll get into this experiment that he just did. And we'll talk about that, and that's what we're going to be talking about, is how dishonest are they being. For instance, here we've got these electrical poles that seem to curve away, and that is because of curvilinear perspective. Curvilinear perspective happens because our eyes are a sphere. Your eyeball is not a flat lens. Your eyeball is a curved lens. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to read some of these comments. But first, let me show you, speaking of dishonesty, here's a video Soundly calls Planes Beneath the Horizon. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this for a second. There was no sound on this, or else I'd let you... Oh, there is a little sound. So what he's basically saying here, turn this down a little bit.
Oh, man.
Is that these planes are going beneath the horizon. Okay? So let's watch these planes. If you don't know how to tell what direction a plane's going, a red light is always on the left-hand side. Right-hand side is the green light, so they're coming at us. Okay? The plane appears to be landing, and... Oh, look, did it go behind the horizon? The Earth must be curved, right? Well, if you are Soundly, and that's all you're going to look at and not pay attention to anything else, then I could see why maybe you might think that that's the case. But to then put out the video... Oh, okay. the lied to lying to themselves. What I mean is the people that have been lied to are lying to themselves or lying to us. I think they're lying to themselves. They have to keep this lie going. They've got to see something like this and think this means that the earth is curved, and they're just desperately looking for anything rather than to look objectively at it. So when we get this guy landing here, I could see why somebody might say, well, yeah, it does look like maybe those lights are going behind some sort of horizon. So I guess you could see where that comes. But if you do no research beyond that, then you're absolutely right. That's your conclusion you're going to come to. But by simply going over to, let me get up, see where Google Earth is. 1 second. I thought it was here. Where did I put it? Overlay Google. There we go. So we're going to transition over here to Google Earth. You should be looking at the same thing I am here. So what I did is I drew a red line from where Soundly was, and I don't know exactly where he was. I think he said he's in Mandeville, North Shore. So somewhere along this line. Doesn't really matter exactly. Let's spin around and take his point of view. Okay, so Soundly's looking this way here, watching planes from the shore, like this, come in there. So we saw the planes coming here, landing here, going behind the curvature of the earth. But if we just come across the water and say, well, wait a second, the airport is way back here. So what is in our line of sight that might be blocking our view? How about all these houses? What do you think about those? How about roads? How about, or not roads, how about these buildings? How about these industrial-sized buildings? Let's go stand down here where I put this little mark so we can see, could this be blocking our view of the planes landing? Let's see. I wonder if this could block your view. I mean, this person here can't see the planes landing. Why not? Because the earth is curved? Because the planes are landing on the other side of a hill? Don't think so. Let's continue on here. How about from here? Drop our guy here. Do you think that this might have anything to do with the plane landing being blocked from the perspective of across the water? I don't know. You know, this isn't much taller than a plane. You know, a plane is probably this high. Well, look at this building. Look at this. I wonder if any of this has to do. So to make a video and call it Planes Beneath the Horizon is dishonest or ridiculously, I don't know. I don't want to call it stupid, but a lack of any research. How about we drop ourselves down here in the middle of this freeway? Do you think that these freeway overpasses have anything to do with not being able to see the plane land? So is the plane going behind the horizon, or is it going behind natural obstacles? So it's pretty ridiculous that somebody would just make a claim like, as these planes are coming in, that you are seeing them blocked by this horizon. You can just look at the altitude of, or I'm sorry, the altitude of, or the elevation of right here, and you'll see that right at the shore, there's 19-foot elevation. What else do I see? 8 feet, 10 feet. So there's a lot in our way between us and this plane landing to just simply say that that's what's happening here. So we'll go back and watch again as we go to here. And let's watch again and see if it makes a little bit of sense what's happening here. So the plane's coming down at a distance, and it's going behind natural obstacles such as houses, such as buildings, such as freeways, everything that would be at our eye level. It's been blocked. It's not going behind the curvature of Earth. It doesn't really even make sense. Let's watch another one come in. A little bit closer. So yeah, and you're seeing a far distance away, but then once it gets down to the almost to the ground right there, it's being blocked by natural hazards. Okay, that's just what naturally happens. So to say planes beneath the horizon, flat Earth debunk, is extremely dishonest. That is not a flat Earth debunk. Let's look at another one. See what else he's got here. That's the Wolfie one. So this one here is his big claim to fame that he thinks this shows curvature. And let me show you why it does not. And we'll transfer this over here. Okay. So hopefully you can see this red bars. Yeah. So if you look at this drawing here, and this is what they think is happening is in the distance, basically these things are curving around the bend of Earth. That's what they think. But all we need to do is remove ourselves and put ourselves at the side view, looking this way. And what you should be able to see then is you should be able to see these posts these electric poles would be standing up out of the water like this, and you would have to see them curve away. Because you just said, from this point of view, looking this way, that you can see these posts curving around the bend of Earth. And if that's happening, then go to the side of it, look from the side, and you should be able to see the Earth curve this way. But guess what? No one's ever seen the Earth curve that way. Ever. No one has ever seen it, ever in all times, because it doesn't curve. It is a flat, level plane, and our eyes cause things to happen. Let me show you an example of that, see if it makes any sense. You can get curves, and it's called curvilinear perspective, because our eyes are spherical. And, we all were taught about the 1 point perspective, right? The one vanishing point. Well, there's also a way to do it that has 5 vanishing points. And the reason for that is because that's how our eyes work. For instance, if we were going to be drawing these posts, we'll just come like this. You have to remember that as these posts go off in the distance, so these ones are far away from each other, and as they go off in the distance, they're going to start getting closer together. Okay, because more and more are building up in your frame of view. So imagine if we did this, and before you know, these things are getting bunched up. A little bit bigger. These things are getting bunched up like this. And what you can start to see is that there will be a curve happening, because now you've got like all these kind of scrunching down in here. That one didn't really work. But then you could see, get down, something like that. So what you can see, and it's kind of hard to see, I did that quickly, but is you'll start to get this curve look that's coming down. Now, we were all taught about the perspective. You put your vanishing point, you've got your road, you've got your telephone poles, you've got your, we know how to draw perspective. But what they never tell you is that as you get to this back spot here, well, because things start building up, you can get this curved look. Let me show you a couple examples of that. Where did I put that one? Oh, I've got this one here. Let me show you this one. So, again, if you just came to the side, that's how you would tell. You always need that third person's perspective. And it goes with boats, too. The same thing that they've told us with boats. That when we've got boats going over the curvature, well, no one's talking about the side view. And I've talked about that before. But if we've got, let's say we've got that was nice, a beach coming this way. And we've got some buildings, okay, here on the shore. Say we've got these 3 buildings. And then all out here is water. Okay, so this is our beach, buildings, water. And let's say that the horizon is, maybe back here. Oops. And our horizon is back here. All right, so now if boats started going out from this port going this way, okay, we would have a boat here. Now, if there was somebody standing here, he would lose this boat, say right here, that this line of water, we'll make that a little bit darker of a line. So he would lose boats going over the edge, supposedly, here. But then somebody standing up here would see that boat go a little bit further until they saw it get lost over this line. And then this guy would see it go a little bit further and get lost over this line. And then this guy at the top, he would not see it till it got lost over the back line. So all you need to do to see what's going on here is to make your third person's point of view. You grab this person, have him come over here, and have him look this way. Say, what do you see when you look across? Do you see the boats curving over a curved earth, or do you see the boats going directly straight? Of course, for this guy, he would see the boats as if this was our perspective looking this way. He would see the boat stay all the way across the line. So nothing is going over any curve. It's simply not happening. And how dishonest are globe believers to continue to protest that things are going over any edges. It just couldn't happen. We're going to watch Wolfie here in a second talk about boats getting hidden by the curvature, which is simply is preposterous. Really, it just is. Because if boats were to, let's say you're watching from the shore here, and you're watching a boat go out and it starts to get lost over this line here, which you're going to call the horizon, say, now the boat's going over. Well, that means that the boat's going over an edge. So what if somebody was on this shore over here and they're watching over here? Would they see the boats come up over an edge? Well, no, they would see the boat coming from behind, right? If they're watching, they would see the boat come from behind the edge. So how does that work? How exactly is that going to take place? Again, it just simply doesn't work. If you took a and you can look at Monterey, where I've gone before. You have Pacific Grove that kind of comes out like this. Then you've got the Monterey Bay, you've got Marina, you've got Soquel, and you got Santa Cruz. Okay, this distance here is about 25 miles, going left to right here. So if somebody stood, you'd have to be up higher off the ground, but if somebody stood here and watched, say, a person here and a person here, and this person sees a boat leave going this way, okay? Well, guess what? After about 3 miles, they're going to lose that boat. It's going to appear to start going over the edge. And this person would watch a boat go this way and would appear that this boat went over the edge. But this person is the one who would dictate to them and say, no, the boat didn't go over any edge. The boat went straight across. The boat did not go over any curve, which wouldn't even make sense. How would it go over a curve like that? That's why I say all the time, it's impossible to live on a ball. You can't do it. It's just not possible. They've confused us and told us it's possible. They've given us all the lies and the cover-ups that they possibly can, and people believe them. Don't get me wrong. I believed it. 35 years. It was fact to me. Why would I ever question it? It's just, if you actually honestly look into this stuff, it's not even hard to figure out anymore. It simply is a deception. And I don't know why they do it. I mean, you can ask me who did it, why did they do it, what's in it to gain for them, why would they ever lie to us like that? Nobody gains anything. I don't care what the reason why the lie is. The fact is that it's a lie. So, yeah, we've been also taught that somebody has to have a reason for doing something. And I would agree with you that I think there's tons of good explanations for it. Maybe, for control, you name it, for whatever. It could be something as simple as science made a mistake. And the great thing about science is that science is able to correct its mistakes. And if they do make a mistake, they come back and say, oh, new tests have determined this. Well, if you're talking about the shape of the earth and with the problems that were had in, say, the 1700s, I don't doubt that it's something that they would not be able to come out and say. If they made that kind of mistake by telling people they lived on a ball, if they realized that they didn't, they would hide it. It would be better for science to hide that fact the best that they could. And so, no, is everybody lying? Is teachers and professors and scientists lying? No, they're just confused like everyone. They've been told a lie and they believe it. And rather than just go look at things and really objectively weigh the ideas, they choose to go out and just repeat and say that planes are going over curvature, or that's what we saw there. Or, believing in the Stephen Hawking video where he showed a helicopter go behind the curvature of the Earth at 6 miles. It's ridiculous. You've seen Paul on the Plains video, I hope, where he's got a distance of 7 miles. There's many more videos and pictures that we can see of this happening, yet we're supposed to believe that a helicopter got hit. So let me go back to this, and let's watch Wolfie's video real quick. 1 second. And we can see what's going on there. And here we go. Okay, so let's watch Wolfie's video. Was it this one or this one? Oh, I want to watch this one.
So that second ship has
night footage taken last night, and in that video you can see the.
Let's start here. Oh,
Are these two boys?
and beyond that there is the ship.
thank you so much, Flat Earth Network. So you'll see here this boat that he's looking at from his hotel room.
Just zooming out, I'm on the 6th floor of the Westin in Waikiki, Hawaii.
Okay. Oops, sorry. Let's transition that.
And I'll
Thank
just
you.
walk down to the beach now.
So basically, he's
And
looking at
beyond
this
that,
boat
There is the ship.
from 6 floors up. Okay, so we're looking at this boat. Now, right away, you should be able to notice something. What do we notice here? We notice that this is a very distorted image. It just, not distorted as in like mirage, distorted as in it's very hazy. It looks like there's a lot of fog in between us, which is really not. It just looks like that because it's far away. Okay, the more and more atmosphere you look through, just as if you were to pile panes of glass
Just
in front of
zooming
you,
out, I'm on the 6th floor of the Westin in Waikiki, Hawaii.
you can see through 1 pane of glass in front of you. You could see through 10 panes of glass in front of you. You could see through 100. But at a certain point, the more and more glass panes that you add in front of your view is going to distort your view. Same thing with the air. Air works identically. After you've got so much distance between you and distant items, they're going to start to distort. So he goes down to the beach, and here we'll get to see. Whoa, that was crazy. He goes out here, and I found a couple interesting things about this. So he knows that it was kind of by that red and green pylon, so he's going to zoom in here now. Okay, so he zooms in, and he's saying, he's kind of going piece by piece rather than just zooming all the way.
There you can see the red and the green boys.
And he says here, turn it up so you can hear it.
But there's no sign of that ship at all. It's completely hidden.
Okay, so, I mean, here you can see that the boat's still seen. Now, granted, I'm not saying he knew that that boat was out there. It's highly possible that he couldn't see it because of the glare or whatever. But here in a second, you'll even see something even funny. Is he'll start panning to the left. And
So I'm zoomed all the way in there, and I'll just pan slowly following that green boat.
so he said slowly following this green boat. Now watch when he stops. Okay, he stops because, oh, what does he see there? Now does he acknowledge? Oh, I do see the boat still. Let's see. Nope, back to the green boat. Let's watch it again.
At all.
How
It's
dishonest
completely
are
hidden.
globe believers? Let's see. You tell me if he saw that boat out there. Okay, so he's here. He can't see it.
So I'm zoomed all the way in there, and I'll just pan slowly following that green boat.
Okay. Slowly panning. And, oh, quick, left. There you go. So, in my opinion, he may have saw something there. But he's going to certainly pretend like he didn't. But I've already explained what's happening here, and I'll explain it again. Because, obviously, it's still not understood. So, back to my drawing. Sorry if you don't like my drawings. It's the only way I can get the point across sometimes. Sadly. So, what's happening is, and let's draw it kind of like what he was looking at. So, you've got, over here on the side, you've got this beach. Okay? And then you've got this ocean. Okay? And you've got Wolfie's hotel room. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing, because I sometimes do forget that. Yep, okay. And then you've got Wolfie's hotel room over here. Okay. So from the 6th floor of a hotel room, here's Wolfie on his balcony. All right. So from the 6th floor, your eyesight is going to be looking at the water like this. Okay? Where is the most amount of distortion, do you think, when you're looking across the ocean? Where would the most distortion be? Would it be up here in the sky? Or would it be down here where we've got the layer that is going to be at such a difference in temperature that's causing the distortion? So the answer to that is the layer would be here. Okay, so this is the layer that will cause you the most problems. Now, when he comes down from his beach house or his hotel, and he now steps here and tries to look at the boat, it shouldn't be any wonder why the boat looks to be hidden by the curvature. It's not hidden by any curvature. You're looking for the boat through nothing but distortion, haze, reflection, atmosphere. Of course, from higher up, you can see the boat better. That's all that it is. And I've already explained that because he had the problem with the lighthouse. And that I showed conclusively, and I'll show that again because we can watch that video because I've already shown this. Let me see it real quick. That's when we're talking about the Bathurst lighthouse. So let me bring that video up for you. 1 second.
Ignition sequence start.
Because that's a good depiction of it. And where's my YouTube? There we go. All right, so let's watch this video here. And here we go. But later we will be straightening and on the bottom left, Okay, so let's watch from this part here. He is at about 10 feet elevation and zooms in again. Clearly the bottom of the image is missing in the video, shot from the shore. Now the question becomes, what is causing this? Well, let's see if we can find out. Because I have a feeling that if you think you live on a ball and you do this test to confirm it, well, it may confirm your preconceived bias. To check that, check out the comments from the crew that have watched Wolfie's video. Alright, so we got Wolfie filming, and on the bottom left I did include a little legend, and I also stopped right about here and grabbed a screen cap of what we see. Okay, so here what we're doing is we're grabbing a screen cap of what we see from where he's filming. I then placed that in the upper left-hand corner so you can see that I haven't changed it. So now Wolfie is just getting a few more shots, kind of panning the whole scene there. Again, he is 90 feet above sea level and looking at Bathurst Lighthouse, so he's 90 feet above sea level. You can kind of, equivalent that to a 9th floor of a hotel, which is 12.5 miles away.
I'll zoom all the way out, and what I'll do then is walk down to the beach, just with the video running.
So now he walks down to the beach. We'll give that some time.
And right about here are not quite level if you are taking.
I'll set up this camera. It'll take me a few minutes to find the lighthouse again.
Okay, so watch as he zooms
he's
in.
Now searching for the lighthouse, as things are obviously a bit harder to see from this point. You'll also notice that I removed the little legend from the lower left-hand corner, as we pretty much are done with the filming portion. And also, here I point out this weird area of air or nothing, and we will be discussing that momentarily, but you will notice that there is almost an empty space there. That'll be important later on. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking the first image and making it transparent, so to kind of hide it, but you'll see I don't change it at all. And then we're going to go ahead and take the second image, the one in the upper right, and we're going to move it just a little so you see which one I'm working with. We're also going to tilt it just one tilt to the left to make the water level, and then we're going to also make it transparent. Alright, my next goal here was to attempt to position the lighthouse as well as the trees one above the other, so that hopefully you agree that they are lined up. I'll then move them a little bit closer, and ultimately I'm going to land them one on top of the other. I now have the images alternating back and forth, so you can see, if anything, I aimed low as to not make the higher elevated image any higher than this ground observation.
So the reason this is proof is because you will see that, let me play this forward a little bit. You will see that when it alternates, that there is a whole entire mountain here. There's a whole entire mountain that disappears because he went to the ground. So at this point, people need to realize, oh, I see what's happening here, is because he's on the ground, that layer of atmosphere that he's peering through is eliminating many things from behind it. In fact, I'm assuming that they would go in order of the colors of the rainbow as far as which wavelength is easily seen and which one isn't. But the mountain is what's disappearing here. So what's happening? Is he up so high? Is now that mountain behind the curvature? No, of course not. You're just looking through more atmosphere, more reflection, more mirroring. Again, one of the best channels, Wide Awake. And when you search it, you have to search by channel and then look for the googly eyes. He's done some of the best work in observations from Florida, showing you what's going on with the water, with the mirroring, with the plane. And he wasn't a flat earther until he went out and did his own observations. And now he's making videos almost daily about it because he feels so strongly about it. He knows we've been lied to. So my drawing here is a little bit better than the one I was showing before. Basically the same thing.
About twice as high.
We are seeing this. Can you
This
see
to me
that?
just
Yeah, I
seems
guess you
to
can.
make much more sense. So 90 feet allows you to...
The other thing
for
that
some reason-
I continue to see is I see people saying that boats don't hide behind the curvature. I don't know if you've heard that one. That boats don't disappear as we zoom in or zoom out. That's all a lie that we're making up. And in Wolfie's video right here, he's going to show it, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, let's watch from here.
By zooming in, and I wanted to make sure that you comment on that. Thanks, Wolfie, for proving that you cannot bring items back by zooming in and I wanted to make sure that
Bring it
that
further.
look at that when you're zoomed in just like this. That is not the motion of the water. That what you're seeing there is you're looking through 12 miles of atmospheric distortion. Well, I hope you see my point. One
Now watch as we zoom away here.
last thing.
Keep
if
your eye on
everyone
this.
will take a look, and don't take your eyes off of that lighthouse. Just keep your eyes on it, because I saw someone in your comment section saying, "Thanks, Wolfie, for proving that you cannot bring items back by zooming in." And I wanted to make sure that you comment on that if you could, because I think it's very clear here. If everyone's watching, keep your eye on that lighthouse. Keep your eye on it. Don't lose it. Keep your eye on it.
I wonder if we can bring items back or
Don't
not
lose it.
in the distance.
Keep your eye on it. Now, right there, if you ask me, that lighthouse is gone. And as we zoom back in with just the zoom in function of that image, you will see that that lighthouse is gone. That's what we mean by when you zoom in, you can pick up items, because you are zooming in further into that distortion layer, and you're able to see things that you can't see with your eyes. That's what we mean by zooming in and zooming out to make items reappear or appear. That would not be the case if the reason that those things are disappearing is because the Earth is curved. Again, you know my opinion, but I don't think that there's any hump of water between us and distant shores. I think
Excellent video. Whoever made that video did a really good job. And so we watched this one. Here's another one where Wolfie's talking about items in the... Hello? There you go. Boats here in the distance. And let me get to this one here. So again, he's going to zoom in on this boat. We're at a time lapse. And what's happening here, again, remember, we're looking through mirrored atmospheric effects, and you can see exactly what's happening. You can see, if I rewind it just a hair, there we go. You can see where the middle of this boat is, where it's reflecting, and it's going in the distance, getting smaller, just as anything... Holy smokes, that was loud. Just as anything perspective-wise would. There was one more video. Did I put it? Let me see where I put the video. Hold on. That I wanted to show. Was it here? Yes. Let me go back here. And this would be this one. Oh, there we go. All right. So we should be looking at this image here. And I'm going to bring up a video. Oh, this is another one from Soundly. I'll just show this real quick. This was his video, Flat Cars Over the Horizon. And again, all you need to do is go back to Google Earth and follow the line of sight that he's looking at. And these cars are coming down off of a hill, going below sea level, coming back up, and he's calling this curvature. I mean, he even shows you here that this bridge goes up. It is, here it is, it's sea level, and then the bridge goes up and over, and he's calling this the curvature of the Earth. Well, I mean, clearly that's not the curvature of Earth. Then he waits till night. You see these cars coming here? And again, he's saying these cars here are going underneath the curvature of Earth and then coming back over it. Like, what are these cars doing then? What's going on back here? Well, these cars are coming down a hill, and then they go, behind those houses that we saw, and then they get up on the causeway. I mean, it's not even difficult. It's ridiculous that you have to go to the lengths of just flat out lying about it. Same thing with this person, again, saying ships behind the horizon. Because here's my question. If ships go behind the horizon, and for 3 years we've been telling people they don't, why is it that there's thousands of videos on YouTube saying and showing that they don't go behind, and that we can zoom in and pick them back up? Where's the videos of the ships going behind the curvature? Where? I haven't seen one. Watch this person's. And if you look here, and I did have some pictures of this boat. Did I save those? Let me see if I have those pictures, because I don't remember the name of the boat, though. Let me see if I can find them. But anyway, this boat here, it's got these two blue like doors that basically are on the bottom of the boat. And as it goes off, you can see what's going on here is this boat is not going behind any curvature. This is a reflection. And we can keep watching here. And you can see now it's really reflecting. What that means is that the water line is about here. Okay, so this is where the water line is. Let's continue watching. And just like with anything, that the first thing, there's a little boat that floated by. Again, wide awake, best place to check out some of this stuff. He'll explain to you exactly what's going on. And this boat is just going further and further into the distance, getting smaller and smaller. And the first thing that's going to disappear is the bottom up. That's the closest to the convergence layer. Another thing I heard Soundly the other day make a joke about, saying that there's no such thing as a convergence layer. Do you see all this reflection in the water? You know, this is probably water here. When I say probably, it's because we can't determine because we're looking through a bunch of distortion. Okay, but we know what's not happening is the boat is not going behind any curvature of the earth. It's just not happening. There's no boats going over any curvature, and yet we can't see it from right to left. It doesn't make any sense. You have to think for yourself. Don't think by what these guys are telling you is the truth. Think for yourself. Just simply think to yourself, can boats go over the curvature of Earth? Think about that. Again, I've shown many pictures, but you can just think about a cruise ship on the side of a globe. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't, it can't take place. It's reality. Again, here you can see where this boat is hitting the water line. Oops, that's the end of that video. This this stuff's too funny. This has just happened today, by the way. If you didn't see this, the Soyuz removing itself from the ISS. And if you think this is in space, good riddance. I don't know what to tell you. You can believe whatever you want. If you think this Atari level graphic is necessary to show us that this is real, this is going on in space, this numbers mean anything, then more power to you. Enjoy yourselves. You can believe that all you want. Now this craft that these three astronauts right here, or are these three guys? These three astronauts that are in this craft are currently in orbit of the Earth right now. Why do we have no video of them? What are they doing right now? Because they don't come home till tomorrow. So they're just orbiting the Earth, but we don't got no video of that. No one's ever heard of a GoPro camera to put on somebody's helmet. That's unheard of. Let's just give them every excuse in the world, every time possible, that anything they can do to prove what they're talking about they can't do, and yet people just let them get away with it. Keep letting them lie to your faces. Keep believing this is in space. Go ahead and believe that. There's no proof. There's no evidence. It's just because these guys say so that we're supposed to just say, yeah, you're right. It must be in space because you say so. Heaven forbid anyone question you. It's not like you're making $52 million a day to do basically nothing, provide nothing for humanity, doing nothing, adding nothing, except for, and so one thing I'll give him, I'll even go as far as to say this. NASA did provide, and this is why, I can understand the faking of the moon landings. I can almost understand that because, it probably did inspire people. It inspired the country. Okay, I'll give you that. It inspired the world. Okay, I'll give you that. But there's a certain point where you call a fraud a fraud. Okay? It's not like they, in 1980, came out and said, you know what, we lied about the moon landing. We inspired you. Look at how much you guys care about science now and everything. Okay, that's fine. Then I couldn't say today, well, they lied to us about the moon landing, because you could just tell me, but Jaron, they came out and admitted that. They've apologized for their, you're right. But they're lying to your face today. They're lying to your face right now. They still expect you to believe that men have been to the moon. So much that they tell you they're going to go again. Now Trump is challenging them to go back to the moon. I really wish, deep down inside, I wish that Trump is the kind of person that's doing that on purpose, that he knows that they can't fake that and he's trying to challenge them to have to. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, or if he's just another puppet, or if he's so stupid that he thinks that space travel exists. I don't know. I can't make that determination. We can just wait and see. But it simply is not happening. These people are not in space. This craft is not flying away. There's 3 people in that craft. And then when the thing goes through the atmosphere, the upper pod and the lower pod burn up in the atmosphere. They engulf in flames and disappear because they never come down. And the middle pod with the people in it, it makes it through. It lands on the Earth. Come on, folks. I mean, honestly. It gets disgusting that people would believe this stuff. Why do we even believe things burn up in the atmosphere at all? Why do we believe that? Why do we believe that? I don't know anymore. I've not seen sufficient evidence. They'll show you the expendable tank flying down, and they say it burns up in the atmosphere. But the stickers on the Dragon rocket don't burn up. So you can engulf something in flame and completely disintegrate it into nothing. But the stickers on the Falcon 9... They don't melt off or anything. They must be super powered stickers. I don't know. You'd have to tell me. I can't figure it out. But this is just model. This is a model. If you think human beings are in here, give me a break. This thing is not flying in space. How is it even moving? How is it getting away? Where is it shooting out its RCS thrusters? How is it changing direction? Show me where it's shooting out. Show me where there's some sort of, even though that wouldn't work in space anyway, but let's give them that, okay, you can create some sort of combustion inside the craft itself, which will then create its own air pocket to push against somehow. When? Where? It's moving at a different speed than the ISS right now, obviously, so now it's going to change direction even. How? What is changing its direction? That's not how things work in space. It would just spin out of control. It's ridiculous that we bought into this and now we can't call it into question. It's just a joke. What is moving this? Oh, there it goes. Now it's going a little faster. Why? I don't know. Because it is. Because who are you to question NASA and the great scientific minds that have built this Soyuz? So anyway, like I said, they're in orbit right now, supposedly going around the Earth, but there's no camera of them. None. You just better believe it. They're in orbit of the Earth. Why don't they come down? Why wouldn't they come down now? Oh, because we've got to calculate perfectly the draw. Okay, whatever you say. I'm sure you couldn't have calculated it so there wasn't a reason for them to go around the Earth for a whole day. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical, and you see here that they don't come home till, is it tonight? Yeah, tonight, 1:15 a.m. They have the deorbit burn and the landing coverage, and then you'll see this little pod hit the ground and the big thing of smoke, and then they'll carry him out of there like, oh, you've been in space for so long, we have to carry you out, and you can barely walk, and all that stuff. Let me ask you a question. So think of somebody in space, at the space station right now. We've all seen them do that little dumb flip they do, right? That they love to show off their little flip. Let me bring up this real quick, because I'll show you what I mean. And again, I'm not saying that they won't do it now going forward, because, of course, after I say something, there's no doubt in my mind that somebody will get a word to them that, hey, you better do this real quick, because people are talking about it. But think about this. Excuse me. If we look at this picture here, we've all seen the person do the flip, where here's the person, here's their body. Sorry, my drawing's bad. Here's the lady. This is that peg. There you go. She's wearing a dress. So we've seen them flip, and they flip this way, head over heels, right? Or backwards. Seen them do this flip. What I've never seen is, why doesn't the person just turn this way? Turn to a 45-degree angle. I'm sorry, 45-degree angle. Okay? And spin this way. So spin at a 45-degree angle. It's the same thing. There is no difference. Whether you're spinning top to bottom, whether you're spinning 45-degree angle, whether you're spinning 60-degree angle, it doesn't matter. You should be able to turn sideways, but I've never seen that. Anyone else ever seen them? They should be able to turn 45 degrees and then spin in a 45-degree angle. Well, that'd be real tough if they're on strings. If they're on cables, they wouldn't be able to do that. Now, again, you could change the background with your green screen footage and then make us think that the person is up and down and then turn them sideways. But I'm not saying in the future that they won't do it, because now they probably will. I'm trying to point out, how long have they been in space? Find me a video of somebody doing that move before today, and I'll retract that statement that I've never seen it. But I've never seen them just turn to a 45-degree angle like this and spin perfectly. In fact, I wish I knew whose video it was. Somebody did a great video about the fact that when human beings are at a certain angle, we, by nature, turn our head towards the gravitational pull, or the gravity line, whatever you want to call it, the up and down, the straight. Meaning that if somebody is rock climbing and they're hanging off the rock, your head always tries to find this direction, the straight up and down. So even if you're leaning this way, your body, your head still tries to go up and down. Well, watch the space station footage. Watch when and maybe we'll go see that real quick and just see if I can. Sometimes I go live and say, I'm not sure if this will happen, but we'll see. I'm just going to bring up a random, just going to type in here, space station interview. And I'm going to show you what I mean by the astronauts trying to keep their head up and down, which would never be the case in space. It would only be the case. Here's this guy. Let's see.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Okay, so here's one of the lying Kelly
You
brothers.
know, I certainly miss a lot of things on Earth without
Sure you do.
question, but I think, that's the case with anyone who's been up here for a long time.
Let me see if any of this. I'm trying to look if they lean at all because that's
You
where I
know,
want to show you their head.
Actually, I'll quote Gennady again, and he
So you see how? Yeah, that was kind of hard to see. It's not a good one because they don't really. Here's the flip. What I'm talking about. So they should be able to turn 45-degree angle and spin perfectly, but I've never seen that. I've only seen them do the up and down one. And what I'm talking about with their heads is not really a good video for it because I don't see any portion. I know you. Oh, you can see what I see. Let me see if I can find a better one. We have to find something of one of them where they're leaning sideways in some way. Let's see what she does. But that's what you get for trying to do something live. I was just trying to find one where they lean. If you ever watch where they lean, their head still tries to find the up and down, which shouldn't be the case in space. Let's see if we can. Don't see a good one here.
In a remote environment, and NASA and all of the partner agencies
Yeah, I don't see
are
anything.
incredible at what they do, but it is a dangerous business, and you're.
Yeah, I don't see one here. Well, let's see if I see anyone off the top of my head. I don't see one that looks like it will be a leaning one. This guy does some crazy stuff. Maybe he'll do it. But you'll see that they act as if they're still in the same pull towards the ground, or that they're lean to the side, but they still have to lift their head up. No, that's not a good one either. I'll try and find another one and then show you. But you'll see this guy goes upside down, which again, if you're on strings or you're on cables, well, that's completely easy. Whoop.
Where you could float into any cupboard. You could hide up in the ceiling or in any.
But now turn 45 degrees.
It's a great place for that. But we don't play hide and go seek.
But we didn't see that there. But I would like to see them turn 45 degrees and then spin a perfect circle like that. But they don't. So anyway, let's go back to, did I finish all these? We talked about the curved water one. I wanted to show you this linear perspective here. A curved linear perspective is, if you look at these pylons, as they bulk up, they get really closer, you're going to get the idea of a curve. And we can find that over here. Let me get my browser open. So here you go. Let me read you this guy, Tom Lockwood, talks about curved linear perspective, and I think describes it perfectly when he says, the human eye has a limited width of field. We tend to see only a portion of the environment at a time and really only concentrate on the very center of what our eyes take in. And so we allow ourselves the luxury of believing that straight lines appear straight. And it's a luxury. Straight lines are so much easier to deal with than curved ones. But you live at the center of a fish-eyed universe. A line is rarely so perfectly situated within your field of view that you would actually draw it as a horizontal line. Even lines that we know to be level, if you turn your head slowly where you're sitting and concentrate on the lines and angles of walls or furniture and the floor, abstract shapes not as things, pay attention to how they shift in your sight, and you will begin to understand it. So this is a good example here. He says you can look straight at a thing like the monitor you're looking at. So right now you're probably looking at a computer monitor. Look at the top and bottom lines of that monitor, and let's listen to what he says. So you can look at a straight thing, say the monitor you're reading this on, and make the horizontal lines of the top and bottom truly horizontal in your field of view, but then turn your head just the tiniest bit, and they no longer are so. So you'll see how quickly lines can become distorted unless you're looking straight on with this item. Well, we're not looking. We're looking from the side. This is a side view of the causeway electrical poles, or whatever you want to call them. But he says perspective is literally the view you see from wherever it is you are, depending on which way you are pointing the eyes in your head. It's dynamic and it's alive. It moves and changes as you move. We have conventions that simplify applying observation to a rendered image, such as perspective grids, but they're abstractions that only approach reality, a language that we have all learned. They aren't reality. Let's look at, so this is talking about curved linear perspective, and one important point here is 4 or infinite point perspective is the one that arguably most approximates the perspective of the human eye, while at the same time being effective for making impossible spaces. While 5 point is the curvilinear equivalent of 1 point perspective, so is 4 point the equivalent of 2 point perspective. So I think I have an image here that shows it pretty well. Let's go to here. Let me see if this image shows you what I'm talking about. Where is it? I lost my thing. Here we go. This image here should show it really well. Okay, this image is perfect. So if you look at this image, this is what's happening to those poles. You'll see that we've got this line that looks like it's curved coming down, but we've got this flat horizon, and it's just the way our eyes work. It's because our eyes are spheres. So it doesn't take much to realize that this shouldn't be the focus of your entire channel. Is this Lake Pontchartrain, the one place that you think it shows curvature, shouldn't be the focus of your whole channel. It just shouldn't. It's not proof of anything. It's not. Nothing is curving over the edge of any horizon at all. So let me see if there was another picture that I wanted to show. So we can look at these again, just showing the drop there, just showing that there's humps in that bridge anyway. That are going to give us a distortion. This picture here I was just kind of drawing where you could see this and say, well, wait a second, isn't that, well, nothing is curving here. I was just drawing gray boxes that you'll see that as they get back here, once I got here, well, they can't go any further this way because I drew a line here of the horizon line, and I just made the boxes get smaller and smaller and smaller as I went away. They still stop at this line, right? And it looks like a curve. It looks like a curve. But again, this is my drawing. This is a flat line here, and these posts just got smaller as I went off into the distance. So again, now this isn't real. This is obviously a painting or a drawing, so it's not something you can call evidence, but I'm just trying to show an example of how you can get that curve when you're not actually going over any edge. Let's see if there was something else. Did we saw that one? I wanted to show this video for some reason. I don't remember why. Oh, it's just, if you haven't seen this video, it's really good, called Flat Earth Champions. It's showing a plane flight basically from New York to Moscow. And just showing you how the sun is doing exactly what we would think it's doing. Basically, they never got far enough for the sun to set completely, and then it starts rising again as they get near Moscow. And it would be in front of them there. So, good video. See if there was anything else here that was of interest. I know this is, I don't know what this was, sunset or something. Don't remember exactly. Don't know why I wanted to show that. We looked at the cars over the horizon. I still think it's funny that if you are a globe believer and you watch the sunset, this is what you think is happening to you. Is you're watching the sunset and you watch the sunset, there went the sunset. That's what globe believers believe, because the sun isn't actually setting. It's staying still, and you are falling backwards. So again, let's watch what happens when you watch the sunset as a globe believer. Watch the sunset and sunset. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty cool to watch sunsets as a globe believer. Once you realize you're not spinning, you're not flying through space, you're not doing all this crazy nonsense. Let's check in on the my favorite clock, by the way. Forgot to show this. Currently, the space scam spending since 1960 is stuck at 924 million now. 51,400 and counting. This is the amount of money stolen from the world with the space scam. And it continues to run nonstop. It doesn't stop. It just continues to add the amount of money that is spent every minute. And let's see, how much does it go up to? I forgot. Every second, I think it's like 15,000 or something. 11, 21. So it's about 10 or 11,000 every second. That's pretty crazy. That's how much money is spent worldwide on the space industry. And people say, well, what reason would they have to lie to us? Why would they ever lie to us? I don't know. 5-point-something trillion dollars in just, that's since 1960. So to me, I think there's plenty of reasons to think that, you know what, they may not be being completely honest about space, about the ideas behind space. So I will probably check the chat here shortly. Or actually, I probably will not. Like I said, I got to put up the Eddie Bravo video, which will go up immediately after this on the Jeranism Raw channel. And you guys can ask me any questions at ask.fm/Jeranism. That's ask.fm/Jeranism. You can ask me questions there. You can also go to SpeakPipe, speak, and then pipe.com/Jeranism and leave me a 90-second message, and you will get a response from me. So you can do that as well. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I needed to cover tonight. So yeah, back to the title of the whole thing is I'm not sure how honest these globe believers are being. If they truthfully were being honest, then I don't think we'd see some things that we're seeing, especially when these things are pointed out now. I'd love to hear Soundly come back and tell me why the plane, we should be able to see it on a flat Earth, that we should be able to see the plane landing when it's behind buildings and homes and trees and freeway overpasses. Explain to me why we should be able to see that, why that's proof of anything. Because I can't certainly find any proof, and I don't understand what's wrong with the explanation that I've told Wolfie, that he's looking through a distorted area and saying that the boat is hidden behind the water, when it's been clear that I'm seeing mountains disappear behind that section of atmosphere. So if we're seeing that, then doesn't that tell you that that's not what's happening? The mountain's not falling behind the water. You're not even claiming that it is. So what is really going on is the question. And in my opinion, I think it's rather kind of simple to figure out. I don't think we need to be having such huge conversations about this, that it's becoming obvious. Oh, and the last thing I did want to show, let me bring this up real quick because I didn't show this. So I guess they did an experiment recently, which is cool. I'm all for experiments. And I know how hard they are. I've struggled myself with them numerous times. They are very frustrating when you spent the time to go out there and spend a whole day doing something and you don't get a definitive answer. That's certainly not good times. 1 second, I'm trying to see. It's hide source. No. Yes. Okay. Oops. Hold on. Trying to get this thing back up here. And it's this one. YouTube. Okay. So this is the experiment they did. But what I find weird about it is, and I don't know the distance fully yet. I don't think they've talked about it, or I'm missing it. They basically hung these lights. You don't see my mouse? Oh, let's transition. See if you see my mouse here. There you go. Oops. So these lights here, they went and put on the side of this bayou, and they put them 5 feet off the water line. But something interesting here, and this should be all the evidence you need to realize what's happening. That if you look there, you can say, oh, maybe there's a little bit of a curve. But as you start to play with this thing, just going forward and back like I'm doing, you'll see, look at the curve difference there versus there versus there versus there versus there. How about that? So what is actually happening here? Well, it should be easy to tell that there's all kinds of distortion. This is the reason why when you look at this water, let's watch. Do you see all this distortion? It's all distorted. And you can watch throughout the day. This is a time lapse. If you watch throughout the day, you'll see it change. Okay, look, now we can see this much water, but this kind of looks like a mirroring. And then you'll see it change. Now you can see more water. Now you can see less. And throughout the day, you get that change. So when he's got lights posted on the edge of this causeway bridge or whatever it is, that they are very distorted. This is why the test I kept trying to do that we still haven't got right yet, and the only option we have left is to wait until Flat Earth Core is done with the laser that they're using in Hungary, and then attempt to use that laser, which is a $4,000 or $5,000 laser. But when we get that, we can try it again. This is why we didn't do it over water. This is why I've said over and over again, you can't do it over water, because this is what you're going to have happen. So the better thing to do would be, to measure the distance off the water that, say, this road is, and then do it over here on the side of the road. But even then, you still have the distortion. Well, it's because the camera is looking through it. But as we get closer here to nightfall, we'll see. Okay, here we go. So now we'll get to see these lights, which certainly look straight to me right there. But now you get the distortion. And I don't know what that was. What happened with the water right there? That was interesting. I don't know. Right here I see like water. I don't know what it was. Let me watch again. Oh, I don't know what I thought I saw. But you'll see that these things are waving. I mean, you can't make a determination based on these lights. You can't say that it's straight. I wouldn't say that this proves flat. I wouldn't say that it proves curved. Because to me, it's clearly, look how much they're moving. There's no way you can make a determination from these lights. And yet I've heard they've already proclaimed this as a curved Earth victory, which explain to me how you can do that and consider yourself honest. I haven't tried once to say, oh, our test proved that the Earth is flat, because there was no proof that came from our tests. So there's, it's not worth, oh, that's what I saw. What is that? Let me watch that again. I don't know why I thought I saw something coming in like water come. What is that? I don't know what that is. So I'll have to wait until I know Soundly and Jesse Kozlowski are supposed to have a hangout. So I'd love to hear what their final determination is here. Because as I've said, and what Robotham has said, is that if you just take a telescope and look down the line of, these lights, as in like right here, this is a straight line. So remember, in the globe Earth, it progressively drops. Meaning, I don't know how far this is. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a mile between these. I doubt it. But you should see a progressive drop. That now the next one should be down here, and then the next one down here behind it, and so on and so forth. But we don't see that. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to get across. So, what's going on here? Is this done? Okay, sorry. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of. I just wanted to show you guys that one for sure. I think that's it. So be kind to each other, as always. Don't lie to each other. And you should... Oh, I don't know what happened here either. Darn it. I thought that I had it, but I don't have it. There you go. Anyway, be kind to each other. Don't lie. And open your mind and find your own truth. And don't believe people just because they tell you. We have to go and do follow-up research and see, is it what's actually happening, or could it be that we're being lied to on a massive level? You know which one I think it is. So, till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Peace!